Welcome everybody. I'm going to wait another couple more minutes while everyone is getting settled down, and we'll start in about 3 more minutes. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Get Started with Microsoft 365 for Education. Before we get started, I did want to go over a few controls today. At any time, you can pause this event by pressing the play button, and we'll go ahead and pause for you. And we can just go ahead and press the play to resume. And you'll notice the little white circle above the play button here. That will allow you to move the event forward and backwards to be able to review anything we have covered. If you do pause the event at any time, you will see a live button appear next to where the play button is and the volume button. Go ahead and press that button if you want to come back to where we currently are live in the presentation. Near the right-hand side middle of my screen, we will see the closed caption options. We can go ahead and turn on closed captions at any time during the event. If you'd like to go ahead and go full screen with the event, we can go ahead and press the double arrows. If any time you have a question, feel free to ask us questions at any time. On the right-hand side of my screen, we can see where to ask a question. You can put your name, but you do not have to. Go ahead, ask us a question anytime during the event. So we'll go ahead and get started with Microsoft 365. My name is Susan. I'll be your presenter here today. And I have Matt. He's going to help me answer all of your questions today. So today we're going to look at getting started with Word, explore some ways to use PowerPoint, understand OneDrive, and explore some fun features within Outlook. Microsoft 365 Education is designed to support creativity and teamwork for students. Apps and files are available across devices and platforms, so you can work at home, school, or on the go. Microsoft 365 is built for collaboration, so you can work together at the same time in shared files. Microsoft 365 Education includes familiar Microsoft Office apps such as Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, which will be briefly exploring Word and PowerPoint in this training. From here, we'll go ahead into the demonstration. So when logging into the College of the Redwoods portal with school credentials, we arrive on a page where we find some of our Microsoft apps. On this page, we can change the views from grid to list. And to do this, we just select the list view button on the top right-hand side. So let me go ahead and show you here on the top right. If you prefer to have the list view or the grid view, we can go ahead and just select that button here on the left. To find our other Microsoft apps, we will want to select the Apps tab next to the Essentials tab. So we can see here there's just a few apps, but if I want to find all of my apps, I'll select the Apps tab on the top left-hand side. That is right next to my Essentials. Today, we're going to look at some of these apps and go through some helpful tips for navigating and collaboration. We will not be covering everything in these applications, but let's go ahead and start with Word. So I'm going to go ahead down to Word on the bottom right-hand side and select Word here. Once we select the Word icon, we're asked what kind of document we would like to make. We could start from a blank, or we can even start from a template. I'm going to go ahead and show you here. On the top is where we go ahead and start from a blank, and on the right-hand side of my screen, we can see some of the templates. But if I continue all the way over, there is a Show More Templates button on the right-hand side of all the templates. If I select the More Templates button, I can go ahead and scroll through all of these templates that I have to select from to be able to create my Word document. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to select the back arrow here where it says select the template. I'm just going to select the back arrow. Under the blank documents and template section, we will see a recommended section. This is where we will see recently created or edited documents. Continuing below all the recommended section, we will see different ways we can search for our documents. So I'm going to go ahead and continue down past the recommended section here. And under the recommended section, we will find all of our documents. So this is all of my documents that I have been working on. If I select the next button, that is my recently open. So these are documents I have recently been working on. And we have shared right next to that. These are the documents that I have shared with other people here. And then we have our favorites. So any document that I have set as a favorite, I would find here. So this is a great way to find any document that I'm currently working on all the time that I always need access to. So I'm not searching through all of my documents for that one that I'm using for that paper that I might need tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and select my All button here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up here. Now, next to favorites here, we'll notice there is a filter by keyword. In here, I can go ahead and start searching for documents. And we can see it's starting to filter out my documents based on the name that I have typed in there. So if I did forget to pin a favorite of my document, or maybe it's a document I need from a year ago, I can go ahead and start searching in there and find that document I may need. I'm going to go ahead and X that out. And I want to show you near the search, there's another filter section here. So I can filter by activity here, if it was created by me, if there's been mentions. There's all kinds of fun filters under the filter. I also have more filters under time. So it gives me a little bit more ways to narrow down that document, especially if I have several documents with a similar name. And then the last button here would be our upload button. And this is where I can go ahead and upload my document right into my cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll back to the top here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating one with a blank document. So when creating a new document in Word, this document is automatically saved in OneDrive, and we will explore OneDrive later in this session. In the Microsoft apps, the ribbon can be changed from simplified to classic ribbon by selecting the arrow on the right-hand side. So let's go ahead and open up a blank document here. Now we'll notice we have our ribbon across the top of our Word doc. I'm going to go all the way to the right-hand side here. We're going to notice that little drop-down caret on the right-hand side. If I go ahead and select that drop-down caret, within here, I can change how I want my ribbon to look. Do I want to have the simplified ribbon, or do I want the more classic ribbon? If I go ahead and switch it to classic ribbon, and this is what our classic ribbon will look like. A little bit more details. Under that caret, I can also show my ribbon, or I can also automatically hide my ribbon if I prefer to have it hidden, because maybe I need a little bit more space to work on my paperwork. Or it could be a bit of a distraction and maybe I just want it out of my way. So when starting a new document, the name of the document is defaulted to document. To change the name, we can simply click on the name of the document and we'll see the box appear that we can change the name of the document. So we notice at the top here where it says Word, I have a title named Document 6. This is one of the default titles that it gives the document when we start from a blank. I'll go ahead and select this little button here. It'll drop down. And this is where I can go ahead and name my document. So maybe this is just going to be my homework page. Maybe I want to call this homework 2-6. So I have a date on here. I know what it's for. I know this could be for a class. This location here will allow me to change my location if I had wanted in a different location as well. And here below, we can see our save status, so we can see it's saved. And if I continue down, I can also find a version history inside of here as well. If I did accidentally make some changes that were too many changes to my document, this is one place I can go ahead and find that version history to get back to the document that I needed when I accidentally deleted 6 pages. On the Home tab, we see our formatting tools, Dictate, and Editor. So let's look at Dictate and Editor. Dictate will work in several languages. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Dictate button here. If I go ahead and select the Dictate, which I'm not going to do it here, I don't think of my setup right now, but what I would do is go ahead and start dictating what I am saying. So I can go ahead and just talk to my document and it would go ahead and type everything out for me as I'm talking to it. If I select the Dictate drop down here, I will find that Dictate button here as well, where I can go ahead and change the settings in Dictate. It will open up a little button when we do press Dictate. It will give us a menu with some settings where we can change the language. I can also transcribe some of my documents as well. And transcribe will also work in multiple languages from within here. So I'm going to go ahead over to Editor. If I go ahead and select the Editor, right now I have nothing on my document, so it's not going to pick up anything. But I can see within the Editor, it's going to check for spelling, grammar. We'll even check to see if there's some refinements that can be made. So if I were to go ahead and try it out, let's go ahead and just type out misspelled and see if I can misspell that. Let's see. Usually this will work. Okay, it's not picking it up. I think it's the capital. See if I can get this to uncapitalize. Usually that will pick it up. It does not want to misspell this one. It's not like me. I was trying to autocorrect. Okay, so this should misspell. All right, so if it did misspell, it will tell me here on right there. Now it's picking up. We got it to spell. So now we can see there is a spelling error. It's going to tell me what the error is, how I can fix it. I can even say to ignore it. If I go under the three dots here, I can add it to dictionary. I can even see more context on that word or show synonyms. If I go ahead and show context, here will let me know how to correct that spelling. If I go ahead and continue typing out and I have grammar errors, grammar will pick up the same way. And this will all create suggestions for me to improve on my Word document. So I'll go ahead and close out that editor for now. All right, let's look into the Review tab here. In the Review tab, we'll find Check Accessibility, Translate, and Comments. So let's go ahead and start with Check Accessibility. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to enter down a couple lines, and I'm just going to insert a picture just so I have something to work with. I'm just going to go Insert. I'm just going to select a stock image from the device here. I'll just grab this picture here and insert. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into my Review tab. And then from here, I want to start with the Check Accessibility. So I'm going to go ahead and select the Check Accessibility button here. In here, it's going to let me know if there's something I need to fix. Here we can see it did pick up my picture because it's missing an object description. And if I have multiple pictures in here, it would pick up each picture and let me go ahead and select the picture from here. But if I'd like to go ahead and add in that alt text description, I can, of course, simply right-click on my picture and look for the alt text in here, which will be right here at the bottom of my right-click menu. There is one other way. If I go ahead and select my picture, and I'm under my picture tools here. Under the picture tools, all the way on the left-hand side, I can go ahead and add in my alt text here. So I can add in the title. So these are blueberries. And of course, we want to put a description. We want to be very descriptive, for anybody that is viewing this document that may need the description of that picture. So we can say washed blueberries in a basket. And of course, we can continue a little bit longer description if we like. But this gives a person the context of what's going on with that picture. We'll go ahead and close that out. So Accessibility Checker will identify items in the document to change to make the document more accessible. In this case, the Accessibility Checker identified the picture is missing alt text. To add the alt text, we selected the picture and then selected the Picture tab. And then we went ahead and entered our alt text. Let's go back into our Review tab here. Okay, so in the Review tab, we're going to find a comment section. The comments are great for collaborating in a document. In the comments, you can mention someone to bring their attention to the place in the document. So at any time, if I had this document shared, I can go ahead and mention someone. If I select a new comment, I just want to kind of show you how the comments work. It will go ahead and select, place the comment where I have selected. So currently I have selected this picture. I'm going to go ahead and make a note. So this is a note I can find for myself if I later if I would like to. Needs changing. So this way I have a memo that this picture needs changing. So when I share this document, the person also seeing the notes will be able to know that I need to make some edits to this document. I can go ahead and press send. And we can see here now there is a comment box. We can also see my picture has a purple box around it to notify everyone that this needs to be changed. Of course, if it was shared, this is where I'd go ahead and mention. If I go ahead and select the three dots here, I can go ahead and link to comment, edit my comment. If the comment's resolved, I can resolve it or even delete it. And right next to the three dots, I do have the option to put a thumbs up as well. All right, and let's go ahead into the View tab. Now that we've looked at some features under the Home tab and the Review tab, let's look under the View tab. Under the View tab, we'll find Reading View, Immersive Reader, Header and Footer. In the View tab, I want to show you Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader provides options for a comfortable and easy to process experience by allowing you to listen to the text, read out loud, or adjust how the text appears by modifying spacing, color, and more. Let's look at Immersive Reader. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab some text so I can use it for my Immersive Reader here. And I'm just going to place it into my document here so I have some text to work with. And then we're going to go ahead and select the Immersive Reader at the top left-hand section. Go ahead and select that. And what it's going to do is it's going to open it up in another view for me. And it removes the pictures and any distractions. Allows me to concentrate on what's going on my document. Here we can see it brought out the spacing, spaced the lines and the letters. Down at the bottom is where I can find my play button. So I can go ahead and play, and we'll go ahead and read
misspelled
for me. If I go ahead and select the voice settings, I can change how fast do I want the document read. Do I want a female or a male voice? I'm going to go up here to the top to the text preferences. If I need to change the size to bigger or maybe smaller, I can go ahead and adjust the sizing of this to make it easier for me to concentrate. I can increase or decrease the spacing. I could even change the font to something that's more comfortable for me to read. Maybe I want to change the background color, something that's a little bit more easier on my eyes to see the contrast. I can also select more colors. I have quite a few to select from in here. The next one here is just grammar preferences. If I want to see the syllables between the words or even the parts of speech, where I can change the colors. But what I want to take you to is the next one here, is this reading section here. And I want to show you, we can have line focus, which this one's not a very good example because it's not long enough, where I can change it to one line, a few lines, or even an entire paragraph if I want to focus more onto that part of the document. I have a picture dictionary where I can turn on and turn off. If maybe it's a word I don't understand, I can select that word. I can have it read to me. Let's see if I can get one with a picture. There we go. I'll have a picture and will also pronounce the word for me. And then I can also translate my document. If I go ahead and select the language, I can go ahead and change it from multiple different languages in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this one here. Right now it is selected by word. So if I go ahead and select the word, we can see it's in 2 different languages. And we'll also read it out loud to me so I can understand what it's saying. If I would like to, I can also change the entire document. So we can see it change the entire document for me. At the top, I have the option to change it back to original or keep it in the other language, whichever view I would like to go ahead and see. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off here. To get back out of Immersive Reader, I can go ahead and just hit this little back arrow right here on the top left-hand side. So next I want to show you a little bit on collaboration. Has there been any questions so far, Matt?
We are all good so far. But if anyone has any questions, please let us know.
Awesome. So let's look at how to collaborate on a document. We can collaborate in PowerPoint and Excel the same exact way. I'm going to show you how to collaborate in Word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the share button here. And I can share or I can copy a link from here. I'm going to go ahead and select share. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab the email I would like to share it to. Just going to go ahead and paste that email right in here. As we can see, it's starting to populate the person I would like to share it to. So I'll go ahead and select that person. I also have options of what kind of permissions I would like them to have. So right above the name, we will see people in redwoods.edu with the link can edit. If I go ahead and select that line, I can change it to people with existing access, or maybe I just want specific people to view it. If I continue down to other settings, maybe I don't want them to edit, maybe I just want them to be able to review it. This is where I can go ahead and change those settings in here. I can also block a download if maybe it's something I don't want other people to have on their device and I want to make sure it stays with me only. I can go ahead and block the download once I say do not edit and everything in here. Let's go ahead and cancel this out. Of course, if I want, I can send this to multiple people by adding another person. To the right-hand side, we also find the can edit, can review, or can only view section here as well. Below the adding the people is where I'd want to add a message, because what this is going to do is it's going to send an email to someone. And this is going to save me a step by not having to go into my email, copy a link, paste the link in the email. This will do all of that for me. So all I have to do is put in a person and type out a message. Let's say, can you assist me with this project? Now, if I go below the message, we'll notice a little email icon. What that's going to do is it's going to open up Outlook, paste that link in there for me, and make me retype out everything that I had already typed out on here. On the right-hand side, I can go ahead and say send. But before I send, I want to show you below is we can also copy a link. If I go ahead and select down below the copy link, it will go ahead and give me those same permissions of what kind of permissions I would like to give someone, if I want them to have access, if I want them to be able to edit that document. I'll go ahead and cancel. So down here at the bottom, this will give me a link to copy as soon as I press copy. But since I want to go ahead and send this with an email, I'm just going to go ahead and say send. Now this is going to go ahead and send that person an email so they can open up the document from the email as well. Okay, so within here, I'm just going to give Matt a moment here to see if he can get into the email so I can show you what it will look like. Oh, looks like Matt has made it into our document here. As we can see, Matt is editing this in real time, and we can edit it together if we would like in real time. The other way I know somebody is here, up at the top right-hand side next to comments, I can see who is on this page. So I can have multiple people on this page working on this document with me together. Next there, we can also find our comments pane. If I go ahead and select that comments pane, we'll find our comments from earlier. If I want, I can go ahead and mention Matt on here if I would like. Let's see if it picks them up. It's not picking them up. Okay, let's do this. Oh, that's. Okay, it does not want to pick them up. But essentially, you would go ahead and mention someone from here, and it will go ahead and share the message with them and bring it to their attention and give them a notification that they've been mentioned in that document here. All right, so I've gone some of the home review, view, and share features in Word. Let's look at some of the features in PowerPoint. So I'm going to go ahead back into my apps page here. And I'm just going to go right over to PowerPoint. I'm going to go select PowerPoint here. So let's look at PowerPoint and starting a new presentation. So when creating a PowerPoint, we have the option to create one from a blank or from a theme, just like what we saw in Word. Well, notice PowerPoint gives us the same features we saw. So let's go ahead and continue with a blank presentation. So I'll go ahead and select a blank presentation here. So here we have our Home tab. On our Home tab, we have the formatting buttons, dictate, as well as designer. Designer will also help us save a lot of time, which I think that's where we're going to start. So we're going to go ahead and select the designer. Here on the right-hand side, we see this little magic wand. So I'm going to go ahead and select that designer here. Designer can save us time on designing a slide from a blank or even from a picture. As we can see, it's already given me some suggestions, and I don't even have anything on my slide yet. I'm going to go ahead and insert a picture here. So insert, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to select a stock image. And I'll just select a random picture and say insert. And we can see designer will go ahead and start creating some PowerPoints from us based on that picture. This could save me several hours of trying to customize my PowerPoint. So let's go ahead into our Insert tab here. The Insert tab is where we can go ahead, insert new slides, reuse slides, and as we saw, also add a picture. So here on the left-hand side, we can see our slides drop down. We can add different style slides in here just by go ahead and selecting our slides. Or we can select the drop down and add different content slides in here. And we'll go ahead and insert picture one more time, just as we saw. I'm going to go ahead and select the slide. We're going to go ahead and insert. And if I go ahead and insert pictures, I can select it from my device. I have whole device options. I can even select one from my OneDrive, stock images, or even online pictures here. If I go ahead and select the stock image, these all work very much the same, and we'll just go ahead and insert those there. Go ahead, close out my designer. And of course, we can resize and move our picture. If I just go ahead and grab it, I could drag it around. And I could resize it if I want it to be a little bit smaller as well. And you'll notice I do have a picture editing tab as well. So I can go ahead and edit my picture more if I would like. Let's go ahead into our Draw tab here. On the Draw tab, we'll find pens and highlighters that we can use on our PowerPoint. So if I went and go ahead and selected a pen, I can go ahead and make some markings on here. Maybe I need a circle there, or maybe I need some kind of a chart. I can go ahead and start putting those objects right in there. We'll also notice there's a ruler. If I need a ruler to make it a little more of a straight line, I can go ahead and place a ruler here and it'll make a straight line for me as well. I can drag my ruler around. We can also collaborate within the PowerPoint and share the PowerPoint just like we did with the Word document by selecting the share button here on the top right-hand side. I would just go ahead and share that document here. What I want to do is go ahead and show you a little bit of the presentation options under Slideshow. On the Slideshow tab, we can select to present the PowerPoint or Rehearse with Coach. Rehearse with Coach will give you real-time assessment on how you are presenting your slides and give you suggestions on how to improve speaking about your presentation. If I go ahead and select the Rehearse with Coach on the right-hand side here, we can see I have a drop-down arrow. This will actually give me the option to include body language. So if I have my video on, Rehearse with Coach will see our body language. I'll go ahead and select Rehearse with Coach. And it's not going to pick up my microphone, so it's not going to let me start rehearsing, but Here I can go ahead and start rehearsing and select the start rehearsing and show real-time feedback. And once I'm done, I can go ahead and just press the escape button and exit out. And what will happen is it's going to pop up a menu here and let me know how I did. It's going to tell me if I made too many pauses, if I'm reading from the slides. Rehearse with Coach will actually know. Or if I'm using too many ums. It will let me know how to refine my speech when I'm rehearsing with Rehearse with Coach. And then, of course, when we're ready to go ahead and start our presentation, at the top left-hand side here, we can go ahead and start from the beginning. If I continue over, I can also start from current slide. So maybe I don't need to start from my very first slide, or I can go ahead and select any of these other slides and just start from the current slide. Okay, from here, we're going to go ahead and tour a little bit of Outlook. I'm going to go ahead back to my All Apps page here. And I'm going to go ahead and select Outlook. So the first thing I'd like to do is show you some of the settings in Outlook. I'm just going to give it a second to finish loading everything here. On the top, kind of near my name and a little light bulb here near the right-hand side, we'll see a cog wheel. If I go ahead and select that wheel, that's going to give me my settings. This is where I can go ahead and turn off my focused inbox. I can even turn off my desktop notifications. If I'm very deep in my homework and I don't want to get disturbed, this is where I can go ahead and turn those off. I can also change my display if I prefer a different view of how I would like my email to look. I can arrange my messages. I can have them shown separately. And I can continue down and find the reading pane options within here. So this is how I can customize Outlook for myself. I'm going to go ahead and close the settings here. So let's go ahead and see how to create an email. On the top left-hand side, we'll notice the new email button here. There's also a little drop down where I can create an email or I can create an event for my calendar. I'm going to go ahead and select the mail here. Here we can see it'll open up the mail on my right-hand side where I can go ahead and just start creating an email. So I want to go ahead and we want to put an email person in there. So let me go ahead and grab my email. So I'm going to go ahead and put that email right in there. And of course, if I have someone else I want to send it to, I can add them in there. And then we need to go ahead and add in a subject. So for the subject, it's just going to be, I'm just going to call this homework. And if I continue down, we'll find I have my format painter, which is great. If you want to get all the text the same, maybe some of the text got a little bit different. So if I'm going to go in here, I'll just say, hi, Matt. I'm going to enter down and we'll go ahead and change this font up a little bit. If we accidentally changed our font, can you look this up for me? Hopefully I didn't change my font. So let's see if I can get that font to change. Let's see. Yes. Okay. I think it did it. So if I go ahead, highlight it, select my format painter, I can go ahead and just paint over that font and we'll go ahead and bring it the same. I'm not sure if it showed the two different fonts, but if it was two different fonts or maybe I accidentally had something highlighted or started to change the color within here, I will go ahead and bring it to the same font for me. So here I have some highlights. I'll go ahead and select that and we'll go ahead and highlight this over. As we can see, it brought it all the same. If I copy and paste something in from somewhere else, a lot of times it'll change the font or the colors into multiple different fonts and colors. And of course, if I want to, I can go ahead and attach something. Or I also have insert pictures right in here as well. Next to my send button, I have a nice little drop down as I can send, or I can schedule a send if I'd like to have it sent off at a later time. Okay. Right, and then from here, I could just go ahead and send it off. Matt, are we doing okay within the questions?
We do have a question about how to keep messages unread in Outlook until they're double clicked to open them. And I'm currently researching that. I know that that's something that's possible in the desktop application. I don't know if that's something that we feature in the online version. So I'm just looking that up right now. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, Susan.
No, I haven't tested that feature. I just know how to let me see if you let me right click the menu here. Because it'll let me mark it back as unread. But I have to keep it. Let's see, advanced.
I'll continue I'll do some research to see if there's something we can configure in settings. So I'll publish that response if we find some kind of an answer. But yeah, you can right click the message to mark it as unread again. But I'll see if there's any additional work that we can do there.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we saw how to send the email. And of course, we can also delete it. If I hover over emails, we'll notice I have the little delete box here. I can go ahead and delete, let me go down to the SharePoint one, and just delete that email by selecting the little trash can, and we'll go ahead and delete it for me. I do have a little undo button here, but it won't last very long. If I accidentally deleted it, we can see it's already gone. So I'd want to go ahead and select that quickly. From here, let's look a little bit into our calendar. Under our email, we'll have the calendar icon here. I'll go ahead and select the calendar. I want to show you can change how the calendar looks in the views. So right now it is set to the week view. My schedule could get quite busy and quite messy, especially if I start scheduling time for homework, time for class, time for a meeting, time for work, or time for lunch. I can go ahead and change that to day. So that way I can see my schedule as a day. It will also help me from getting overwhelmed by seeing a smaller schedule. If I decide, I can also see the week if I need to plan out my week. My first one will be school week, and the next one will be week, and then we have month. There is also a board view here too. Okay, so we're gonna have to go ahead and start that. Oh, all right, it may not work on this one, but there is a view. Let's see if I can get back. Oh, let me reopen that. Oh, back in the calendar. Okay. So then here we can see, this is where we go ahead and change our days of our week and our view of our month and our day. We'll also notice next to the days, next to where it says day or where we can change the view of our calendar, we can also schedule a new event here, or I can send an email. This is the same drop down that we saw in the email. If I go ahead and select the icon, it will go ahead and schedule a new event for me. So I can add a meeting into my calendar. Has there been any more questions within what we've covered so far, Nora?
No additional question. I did find an answer to the question. I just published the answer. And if you have time at the end, I can walk through how to configure that option.
Okay, we have a couple minutes, or is it going to be really long?
It'd be like a minute.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if you go to the cog icon in the top right corner, that'll open up a blade on the right. And if you go all the way down, you'll go to view all Outlook settings. It opens up a window, and on the left side, we want to go to the Mail section. And then in that middle pane, we want to click where it says Message Handling. And you can see there we've got a mark as read category right there. So by default, as soon as you've clicked the item, it will mark as read, but you can configure it to not automatically mark items as read and then require you to actually manually check it off as read. So I don't think it's quite the same as insisting on a double click the way that it can be in the desktop application, but you do have the ability to configure your preferences from this menu right here.
Awesome. Did that cover their question completely, or was there anything else?
Yeah, I believe so. If there are any follow-up questions or anything, please send them in and I'll do my best to answer them.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead back into my all apps because I wanted to go through OneDrive a little bit before we end today because we do have a little bit more time. I'm going to go into OneDrive and I want to walk you a little bit around here. So within the OneDrive in here, we can see it opens up to my files where I have everything that's on my OneDrive. On the top left-hand section here, we can see My Files. If I go under My Files is the recent, so anything I've recently worked on. The next one would be Shared. This will be anything that has been shared with me. It was the first one here we can see at the top. Kind of middle left-hand side where it says OneDrive underneath, or Shared by You. So if I want to find the ones that are shared by me or shared with me, they're filtered between them. Under there, I would also be able to find the recycle bin. If there's anything I've deleted, I'd be able this is specifically from the OneDrive deleted. I would be able to go into the recycle bin of my OneDrive and be able to find that item that has been deleted to recover it. But maybe that item was deleted longer than we realized and it's for a very important paper or for an exam possibly. I can go down to the second stage recycle bin down here. And I can go ahead and select the second stage recycle bin. It should take me to another window here. So as long as it's within a certain time frame, we'll be able to find it here. Matt, do you remember what the time is off the top of your head? It's like 30, 60 days?
I believe it's 90 days.
Okay. Within that time frame, you will be able to find it here. Once it's past that time frame, it will be completely deleted from the recycle bin. I'm going to go back up to My Files here. If I go under the New drop-down, I can go ahead and add in a new folder, a new document, Excel, or even a PowerPoint. So I can do all these functions here from within OneDrive without having to go back into my All Apps page. I can also upload a document, a file, or a folder from here. And I can sync it with my device. If I decide I want to go ahead and have it sync, I'm just going to cancel that. This will go ahead and sync into my File Explorer. If I go ahead and select my File Explorer here, I will be able to find my OneDrive here on the left-hand side in my File Explorer. And the OneDrive will most likely say your school name here, where I have my fictional OneDrives. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder just to show you how this looks. I'm going to select New, and I'm going to go ahead and select Folder. Let's call this Lessons from Class 1. I'll go ahead and create that. So here we are. I have a folder so I can place in my lessons from my first class here. I'm going to go ahead and I want to show you at least a Word document. These will all be the same way on how they look, the Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So we can see what it does. It just goes right into application and opens it up for me right from the OneDrive. Of course, we can rename our document just the same way we did before. This one is already automatically named Document 6. But I'm going to go ahead and close that document. And I'm going to go back into my OneDrive. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. It'll take a moment, but momentarily I should have another document here that says document 6. I can also rename my documents from within here as well. Here it is. Perfect. So I have my document 6 here. This is the one that we had just opened. I should be able to rename it by right-clicking here. We can see our menu. I can go ahead and select rename from here. I also have, let me go ahead and select my document. You'll also notice at the top the menu changes for that document. I'm going to go ahead and unselect my document for a second because I also want to show you when I select a folder, I have a little bit different menu. So depending on what I have selected within my OneDrive, that menu will change. So if I go ahead and have that selected, we can see I can open it. I have the option to go ahead and share it just the same way we did from the document itself. I can download it to my device, print, delete, and even rename my document right here. Under the 3 dots, we'll find a few more options here where we can move and copy it. We can also find that version history like we discussed earlier, where if I need to go back to a previous version of that document because it was something that was very important deleted from it. I also want to show you on this document that I have selected the 3 dots. If I select the 3 dots, we'll notice the same menu here. So I have multiple ways to access this particular menu. So I'm just going to go ahead up to the top and select rename. So I'm just going to say class 2 report. And then I'll go ahead and rename. So now we can see my document has been renamed, so I can easily find that document here. Go ahead and get that box out of the file. Okay, and I also want to show you here on the right-hand side. You'll notice there is a sharing label right here on the right-hand side. Right here, we can see if it's private or if that document has been shared. If I go ahead and select the shared document here, I can stop sharing that document if I no longer want them to have access to it. I can share the links giving access, copy the link from in here, add somebody with direct access here. Down below, I can see who would have access to that document. So right now, it just shows me. And then I have some more advanced options right there as well. If I were to go ahead and share this document, go ahead and share. Here at the bottom, we can see who it's been shared with. Since this document is already shared, it will let me know who it's shared with on the document when I go ahead and try and send a link again. So that's one way to know who all has that document shared with them as well. All right, has there been any other questions, Matt?
So far, we are all good.
Okay, I want to go ahead and show what a version history will look like before we end here real quick. So the version history is where we can find the previous versions of the documents if we want to revert it back to a previous version. Some reasons for this is if someone accidentally deleted or removed a share from the shared document like we were discussing earlier. Let me see, I should have one here. It's this one. Let's select this one here and go this. And let's go to my version history here. So here I can show you what multiple version histories will look like. And I can go ahead and select from any of the previous versions and restore it. If I select the 3 dots here, we can see restoring, open my file, or I can even delete that version if I don't need that one around anymore. But this is where we go ahead and find that version history to restore it back. All right, if you do have any other questions, feel free to let us know. So today we did look at some of the little bit features of Word, a little of PowerPoint. and OneDrive, and of course, Outlook. So thank you for coming to today's session. We hope you enjoyed our session today, and we were able to present to the level of the 10 for you. If there's any other sessions you would like to see, please let us know, and we can let the school know what you would like to see more of. Keep in mind, this was just an introductory session, so we didn't do any deep diving on any of these programs today. I do thank you all for coming and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.